Good day, everyone. I am Adones Ubas Jr., a third-year student from Negros Oriental State University, Main Campus 1 and 2. I am taking a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Sciences. And for today's video, we're going to discuss about what are portfolios, the advantage and disadvantage of portfolio assessment, and how to implement portfolios inside the classroom settings. First, let us define what the word portfolio means. Portfolio may have a lot of meaning and definition, but in general, portfolios are prominently used in art, architecture, modeling, photography, and journalism. They document proficiency, skill, style, and talent with examples of good and actual work. In the term of education, the term portfolio refers to as a purposeful and systematic process of collecting and evaluating students' summative and or formative assessment to document students' progress. Portfolio is a collection of work or data that will be one of the bases of the teachers, whether his or her learners learned or not. Through portfolio, the teacher or the facilitator would be able to identify and know what segment of the discussion or the lesson that the student or the learner is struggling, and in that reason, the teacher can offer help towards that learner to achieve the common goal, which is to learn. Portfolios are limited, meaningful collections of work, which include guidelines for the selection of contents, criteria for scoring, and student self-reflection. An effective portfolio is purposeful, meaning the portfolio that the students made or create is something purposeful, meaning it is something inspiring, it motivates, and it inspired other people and students. It is systematic and well organized. The content of the portfolio should be in chronological order, and the sentence and the phrases used in the portfolio should be well organized and should be arranged accordingly. It contains meaningful work, it motivates students, and it documents progress based on clear, well-specified scoring criteria. The characteristics of effective portfolio. 1. Clearly defined purpose aligned with learning targets, standards, and 21st century skills. 2. Systematically organized collection of student work products. 3. High student engagement and motivation. 4. Individualized student artifacts. 5. Pre-established guidelines used to establish contents. 6. Some student selection of contents. 7. Student self-reflection. 8. Clear and appropriate criteria for evaluating student product. And last, conferences held between students and teachers to review and evaluate. There are two major types of portfolio. First, the documentation portfolio and the growth portfolio. I will not go deeper into the type of portfolio because in my introduction, I just said that I will going to discuss what is portfolio, the advantage and disadvantage of portfolio, and how to implement the portfolio. Maybe in the next video, I'll going to discuss that two major type of portfolio. And I am done discussing or sharing what are portfolio. And now let's continue and let's go to the advantages and disadvantages of portfolio. Let's go first to the advantages of the portfolio. The first advantage of portfolio assessment is to combine the strength of performance assessment with a continuous record of achievement. Second, it engages students in self-evaluation and reflection that lead to goal setting, and it also encourages and supports critical thinking. Next is, it also involves students in collaborative assessment. Also, it integrates assessment with learning. Also, it focuses on self-improvement and it enhances student motivation. On the other hand, the disadvantage of portfolio assessment are the following. First, time-consuming. It is very time-consuming to check or to evaluate or to assess every portfolio that you have. Next, not consistent because criteria are too general and the raters are untrained. Next, need time and resources to design, to review and score, and to get training. For you to aid any possible confusion about advantages and disadvantages of portfolio assessment, I will state here again the advantages and disadvantages of portfolio assessment. So, on my left hand, you will going to see the advantages and disadvantages of portfolio assessment. While on my right hand, you're going to see the disadvantages of portfolio assessment. So the first advantages of portfolio assessment is it promotes student self-assessment. And the first disadvantage is scoring difficulties may lead to low reliability. Second advantage, it promotes collaborative assessment. Second disadvantage, teacher training needed. Third advantage, enhances student motivation. Third disadvantage, time-consuming to develop criteria, score, and meet the students. Fourth advantage, systematic assessment is ongoing. Fourth disadvantage, students may not make good selections of which materials to include. Fifth advantage, focuses on students' strengths, what they can do. Fifth disadvantage, sampling of student products may lead to weak generalization. And last advantage, assessment process is individualized. And last disadvantage, parents may find portfolios difficult to understand. And that's all the advantages and disadvantages of portfolio assessment inside the classroom settings. And we are on the second to the last segment of this video, which is the implementing portfolio assessment inside the classroom settings. So what are the things should the teacher or the facilitator should do to implement portfolio inside his or her classroom? The first thing that teachers should do in implementing portfolio inside the classroom settings is the review with students. So the teacher or the facilitator should ask or should have an agreement between him or her, between the teacher or the facilitator and the students, what kind of portfolio he or she will going to give. And after the agreement, the teacher or the facilitator should explain what is involved and what they will be doing. So it is the responsible of the teacher or the facilitator to explain how to do that certain portfolio. After reviewing with students and supplying the content toward his or her students, the next step the teacher or the facilitator should do is to have a student self-reflection. In student self-reflection, it can be challenging yet rewarding. Students need to be comfortable, confident, and accurate in analyzing and criticizing their work, and self-evaluation activities need to be taught. Those are the steps that a teacher should do in implementing portfolio inside the classroom settings. And now, let's have a review. First, review with students. Second, supply the content. And third, do a student self-reflection. And now we are on the last segment of this video, which I will be showing you my own portfolio. And I will give a little description about it. Now I will be showing you a sample portfolio during my first year in college. So here, my teacher was assigned us to make an essay, and here is my output. So the first draft is here. As you can see, there's a lot of correction written in green ink. So there you can see a lot of corrections till there. So after the corrections made by our professor, I started writing again. Through the correction, I can able to attain this kind of output, and my teachers even write okay on my output, and it feels good for me. For at last, I achieved a good output. Okay, so the next portfolio I'm going to show you is this. My portfolio in Filipino 1. So inside this portfolio, the following content in this portfolio are wika, katuturan, at katangian. Katangian ng wika. Kahalagahan ng wika or the importance of language. Mga teorya ng pinagmulan ng wika, mga iba't ibang teorya ng wika. Kasaysayan ng wikang pambansa, kung saan nagmula ang wikang Filipino, at ang alibata. That's all for today, and I hope you find it informative. I am Adones Ubas, a student from Negros Oriental State University, Main Campus 1 and 2.